Lately, I've been thinking a lot about what feels easy and what feels hard. But first, let me give you a bit of context so you know what I mean. I'm constantly learning something new, not through courses, but on my own. I teach myself to use various tools and platforms like Descript, StreamYard, Shopify, Instagram, TikTok, MailerLite, Spotify, Pinterest, Etsy, Printify, and so on. When I share my discoveries with friends, they often say, "Wow, how do you know all this? Everything seems so easy for you. You're lucky because I struggle to keep up with all these new things." And that always surprises me because every time I learn something new, I spend days, sometimes weeks figuring it out. Sure, once I do learn it, everything seems quick and effortless. But up until that point, I put in a lot of time and effort. In my view, nothing comes easily to me. Even when I think something will be quick and simple, I inevitably discover all sorts of extra steps, unexpected obstacles, and details I hadn't considered. Most of the time, I'm learning things that no one around me is using, which means I have no one to come to me, point, and say, do this like this and that like that. So everything takes even longer. First, I have to figure out where to even start. Then, I have to find the missing information. Then I have to test it out in practice. And if it doesn't work, I have to go back and figure out what I still don't know, what piece is missing for me to get the result I want. And yet, people often assume that things come easily to me. Oh, here's another example from a conversation I had some time ago. I'm currently editing my book in English with the help of ChatGPT, and I find AI incredibly useful. It makes the process so much more efficient for me. But when I told a friend about it, she was surprised because her experience with ChatGPT was frustrating. She said it leaves too many mistakes in the translation that it made me stop and think, why do I find AI so helpful while she thinks it is unreliable? So I analyzed my process. I take one paragraph at a time, copy it into ChatGPT, and ask it to refine the translation so that it best reflects the meaning I originally wrote in Lithuanian, while also sounding natural in English. Then I go through ChatGPT's suggestions and revise them, often multiple times, tweaking words and phrases until I feel they truly express my thoughts. In other words, once again, I put in a lot of work. And yet, to someone else, the end result might look like, oh wow, AI works so well for you. How lucky. Now, here's what I think about, especially when something isn't working out the way I want. When I put in tons of effort and time but still don't get the result I hoped for, I remind myself about Pablo Picasso. Over his lifetime, he created more than 20,000 paintings, prints, drawings, sculptures, ceramics, and theater costumes. 20,000. 20,000. Of which I read somewhere only, or should I say even, 150 are among the most expensive artworks ever sold. You could say, wow, that's amazing. 150 of his works are among the most valuable in the world. You could also assume, Well, of course, he was talented. He could just pick up a brush and effortlessly create masterpieces worth millions. So I googled the prices of his paintings. Five of them sold for over 100 million, 16 for over 50 million, and 39 for over 30 million. Did he easily paint those multi-million dollar works just because he was talented? Probably. But talent alone isn't rare. There are a lot of talented people in the world. How many of them, though, have created 20,000 pieces of art in their lifetime? And was Picasso's success just some magical stroke of luck? Unlike many artists, he didn't have to wait until after his death for recognition and wealth. I don't think his success was an accident. Picasso put in the time, the energy, the discipline, the stubborn determination. He created 20,000 works, of which 150 turned out to be masterpieces by any measure. In other words, his success was the result of his effort, patience, and consistency. Just for fun, I did the math. Those 150 super successful paintings make up only 0.75% of all his work. Not even 1%, which means 99.25% of everything he created wasn't a masterpiece. So, does that make him a failure? Rhetorical question, no need to answer. And that's what I remind myself of whenever I struggle with something. If things aren't working out, if I keep failing, I think I just haven't painted my 20,000 pieces yet. So I keep going. I keep working, learning, trying, experimenting. In other words, I keep painting my life. So, do things come easily or with difficulty for you? And is it worth quitting something just because it doesn't work out perfectly on the first or third try?